So, last week, Veilguard released a character creator. This is a move that I think is actually really good. Unfortunately, as you can see from the performance metrics, it's not very effective.
Damn! I'm sorry.
Now, the reason for that is fairly obvious. It's coming out at the wrong time. This is the kind of thing that's most effective if it's done before the game comes out, not after. I mean, the game came out on 31st October. It's been out for over a month. It's fair to assume that most of the people that were interested in this game, they've played it by now, or they've not decided that they're not going to play it. Releasing this character creator is not likely to change anyone's minds, which I think is unfortunate because I actually think this could have worked. But to examine that, we need to step into another timeline. So walk with me here. Let's imagine a timeline where that initial trailer that we got for Veilguard, the one with that Imagine Dragons like song, yeah, that didn't happen in this timeline. In this timeline, that interview that Corinne Bush had, where they talk about the characters and what they're doing and what their backgrounds, that didn't happen either. That whole the streamer that talked about top surgery scars, that didn't happen either. So in that timeline, that final trailer that we got for Veilguard, the one that was the darkest, that was the original trailer. And after that, we got the one at Weissapt as the second trailer. And then after that, the character creator was released with no fanfare. That whole business about how you can't make enough decisions, how your decisions are not moved forward, they don't talk about that. I'm not saying that the game is still the same game. They just don't talk about it. I'm strictly speaking from a business perspective, a performance perspective. I think in that timeline, Veilguard performs much, much better than it did because they don't say anything that puts, their foot in their mouth, and also they show the game in its strongest light before release. Now, personally, I think that would have helped, although the way that I would prefer is if they just had a demo of the game. That thing that they mentioned where they took influencers and they played like a 7-hour build, I would prefer that they just gave that to everyone and just had everybody play. This year and recently, I actually wanted to make this its own topic, but I think I might as well just tackle it here. I like the resurgence of demos. This year we had Tekken 8. We had Metaphor Fantasio with a fantastic 8-hour demo. That is something I've never seen before. We had the character creator released for Dragon's Dogma 2. We had Wukong with its benchmark tool. These are all things which show a lot. The best thing about this kind of thing is that it's sort of like a flex of confidence. Final Fantasy 16 is another one that released a pretty beefy section of the intro as its demo. And I believe this kind of thing shows players that you're pretty confident in what you have. You have nothing to hide. You put it out there, and those who are interested check it out for themselves. If they like what they see, they pick it up. If they don't like what they see, then they don't have to pick it up. I think this kind of thing is really powerful because, especially from an optics perspective, if someone gets a huge part of their game and is willing to just put it out, I think it's a really, really good look. And it helps a lot. It's mostly something that the Eastern studios seem to be picking up. As you've noticed, almost all the games I mentioned are from the East that are doing this. I like the fact that Veilguard finally decided to try this. BioWare did it, but they did it late. If they're going to do this for Mass Effect 5, I hope they release it before the actual game. And rather than trying to do the influencer marketing thing, they just make a good game and put it out. My biggest issue with a lot of the big AAA studios is that rather than trying to make a game you want to play and then just give it to you to try, they tend to almost want to trick you into buying the game that they've made instead of them making the game you want to buy and then just selling you that game and putting it out and telling you, what, obviously we've made the game that you want, so we'll see you on launch day. We know you're going to come and play the game because we made the game that you want. It's almost like with a lot of these AAA studios, it's like a mental game where we try to sort of play around and they try to also sort of like, it's almost like a chess game where one person is trying to outsmart the other and take their money before they realize what's going on. and before you know it, you've paid for the game and there's nothing you can do. So yeah, it's unfortunate that that's not the timeline in which these events happened, but the character creator is not bad. I personally think it's mostly pointless, and I think the general performance that it has shows that I think that's the general standing opinion. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This one's going to be a short one. I'm currently playing Marvel Rivals while working on a video about Metaphor Fantasio. I hope to have it done this week, and it should be a bigger scripted video with a lot more editing, so stick around if you want to see that when it comes out. And yes, I know that is very idealistic and not realistic. If there are many business reasons why they don't just make sections of the game and just give them out to whoever wants. It's probably not something that's very good for business, but I think it does give a lot of confidence to players and makes them believe that you're very, very sure that this game is good. It for me, in my fantasy world, that would be the way that every game works. There was a time when the gaming industry was younger that a lot of games had demos, and these were Western games as well. And essentially, you simply got a game, you tried the demo out, and if you liked it, you bought the full game. We didn't have the industry was not as large as it is today, where those pre-order sales and initial sales numbers are extremely strong. And if they are not good enough, studios can actually get shut down immediately if their initial performance is not strong enough. There were simpler times, I think.